Hold up. Before you scroll away, what I'm about to show you is going to completely change how you think about Sony's cinema camera lineup. We've got fresh leaks about the FX3 Mark II that nobody is talking about yet. And honestly, some of these specs are so wild that even I had to double-check the sources. If you're thinking about upgrading your camera setup, or you've been waiting for Sony to drop something game-changing, you absolutely cannot miss what's coming next. Before we dive into these exclusive leaks, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because I'm constantly bringing you the latest camera leaks and top 10 camera breakdowns that you won't find anywhere else. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming in the camera world over the next few months. The first leak that caught my attention wasn't even about video specs. It was about the sensor. Now, everyone expected Sony to stick with their tried-and-true 12-megapixel approach from the original FX3, but here's where it gets interesting. Multiple industry insiders are suggesting Sony is making a massive shift to a brand new 24.2-megapixel full-frame stacked sensor. Think about what this means for a second. Imagine you're filming a wedding and the couple wants both cinematic video and high-resolution photos for their album. With the original FX3, you'd need to bring two cameras or sacrifice quality. Now you can pull stunning 24-megapixel stills directly from your 4K footage, or crop into your shot without any quality loss, like having a 200mm lens when you only brought a 50mm. But that sensor upgrade is just scratching the surface of what Sony has planned. The processing power behind this camera is where things get absolutely insane. We're talking about the next-generation dual Bions XR processor, paired with a dedicated AI processing unit. The same brain that's been blowing minds in the A7R5 and A9 Mark III. This isn't just a spec bump. This is Sony essentially putting a supercomputer inside a cinema camera that's smaller than most people's lunchboxes. The real-time subject tracking alone is going to make every other camera in this price range look like it's stuck in 2020. And speaking of things that will make other cameras look outdated, wait until you hear about the video capabilities. Here's where Sony might have just broken the internet. We're looking at potential 8K recording at 30 frames per second, or if you want to prioritize frame rates, 6K at a buttery smooth 60p with full sensor oversampling. Now I know what you're thinking. 8K sounds cool, but do I really need it? Here's a real-world scenario. You're filming a documentary interview and halfway through you realize the framing is too wide. With 8K footage, you can punch in up to 4 times in post and still deliver crisp 4K to your client. It's like having 4 different camera angles from a single setup. Your wide shot, medium shot, close-up, and extreme close-up, all from one recording. But the frame rate options are where this gets even more exciting than I expected. The 4K capabilities are reportedly getting a massive upgrade to 120 frames per second with full sensor readout and dramatically improved thermal management. Remember how the original FX3 would get toasty during long recording sessions? Sony apparently listened to every complaint and redesigned the entire cooling system. Picture this. You're shooting a music video with multiple takes, or recording a 2-hour podcast, or capturing an entire wedding ceremony without stopping. With the original FX3, you'd be constantly worried about overheating warnings ruining that perfect moment. The Mark II reportedly handles marathon sessions like a champ. Think of it as the difference between a laptop that gets burning hot versus a desktop that stays cool all day. The color science improvements alone would justify an upgrade, but there's something even bigger that nobody saw coming. Sony is apparently integrating AI-powered autofocus that doesn't just track subjects, it predicts their movement. Imagine you're filming a toddler's birthday party or trying to capture wildlife footage. You know how unpredictable they can be. 1 second they're still, the next they're running in a completely different direction. This new AF system is like having a professional focus puller who never gets distracted, never blinks, and somehow always knows where your subject is going before they do. It's the difference between spending hours in post trying to fix soft footage versus getting tack-sharp results straight out of camera every single time. The physical design changes might seem minor at first, but they reveal something huge about Sony's strategy. While keeping the beloved compact form factor that made the FX3 a guerrilla filmmaker's dream, Sony is reportedly adding a larger, more versatile LCD screen, possibly even a tilt-flip hybrid that content creators have been requesting for years. But here's the detail that got my attention. Dual CF Express. Type A slots paired with SD card slots. Picture yourself on a wedding shoot. Your main ceremony footage is recording to the super-fast CF Express card for 0 dropped frames, while simultaneously creating backup files on the SD card and proxy files for same-day highlights reels. It's like having a safety net and instant editing workflow built right into the camera body. The connectivity upgrades tell us exactly where Sony thinks the industry is headed, and it's pretty wild. We're looking at Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, and here's the kicker: dedicated streaming modes with direct USB-C output for live production. Sony is essentially building a streaming studio into a cinema camera. Here's a game-changing scenario. You're shooting a product launch event and your client wants both a cinematic recap video and a live stream for remote attendees. Instead of bringing separate streaming equipment, you literally flip a switch on the camera menu. Boom, you're streaming 4K quality directly to YouTube or Twitch while still recording your master files. It's like having a broadcast truck condensed into a camera that fits in your backpack. Now, let's talk about the numbers that everyone's been waiting to hear. The price and release date. Based on multiple industry sources and Sony's recent pricing patterns, the FX3 Mark II is expected to land somewhere between $4,199 and $4,499. Now, before you freak out about the price jump from the original FX3's $3,899 launch price, remember what you're getting: AI processing, potentially 8K recording, doubled resolution, improved autofocus, better thermal management, and streaming capabilities. When you break down the cost per feature upgrade, this might actually be one of Sony's better values. But here's the part that might surprise you the most: the timeline for when you can actually get your hands on this camera. All signs point to a Q1 or Q2 2026 release window, likely announced at NAB Show 2026 or teased at CES 2026. I know that might seem far away, but here's why that timeline actually makes perfect sense. Sony is waiting for the sensor technology to mature, the AI processors to become more affordable, and honestly, they want to make sure they absolutely nail the thermal management this time around. Plus, this gives current FX3 owners more time to get their money's worth from their current cameras. The question isn't whether the FX3 Mark II will be worth the upgrade. Based on these leaks, it's going to be in a completely different league. The real question is whether Sony can actually deliver on all these rumored features without compromising the reliability and ease of use that made the original FX3 such a phenomenon. If you found these leaks as mind-blowing as I did, you absolutely need to check out my breakdown of the top 10 rumored cameras coming in 2025. I dive deep into what Canon, Panasonic, and even some surprise manufacturers are planning. And trust me, the camera wars are about to get very interesting. Click that video right now because some of these upcoming releases are going to make you completely rethink your gear strategy for next year.